Hey, what's up YouTubers? Lee John Blackmore here at Super Easy Guitar. This week I'm going to give you 5 tips, a rundown for noobs, okay? I get so many emails with people asking me the same questions. Let's get straight into it, and don't forget, stick around to the end because I've got a bonus tip that you should all know, so don't miss that, okay? Tip number 1. Okay, one of the most common things people ask me all the time is, my fingers are too small, my fingers are too big, they're too short, they're too long, I can't do bar chords, I can't change quick enough. Majority of the time, I find that people are playing the wrong guitar. Some people try and learn on the electric guitar, and then they start amplifying all their mistakes, and they're just like, it sounds terrible. Of course, the acoustic guitar is going to be a little bit more forgiving, but don't forget, they come in all shapes and sizes. If you're a bigger guy, you don't want a tiny guitar. You're going to struggle to get your fingers around that neck and to create the correct distance between the strings, so you're not muting those strings. And it goes for the opposite as well. If you've got smaller hands, you don't want this big fat neck that you have to stretch your hands over, and you don't quite have the strength to push down, especially when it comes to bar chords, right? So, you know, sometimes I see very cheap guitars and the action is huge. That's the distance between the strings and the fretboard. And that means if it's a high action, it means that you've got a further distance to push down those strings, and it takes more strength, and your hand's going to get tired very quickly, and you're often going to end up with this kind of sound, which is super frustrating. So seek some advice. Don't just buy random stuff on Amazon, and please don't email me, because I don't know, unless I sit down in a room with you, I don't know what guitar suits best for you. Seek out advice. Find a local music store, find someone that plays guitar, or just try different things. If Amazon is your only option, then, you know, try. If it doesn't work, send it back, try a different one, okay? Number 2, and I see every single learner guitar player do this. Well, not that exactly, but they pick songs that are too complicated for beginners, and they end up giving up because they get so frustrated. Start on the easy stuff. Make life easy on yourself. Yes, I know some of you want to play those Metallica songs, or, you know, whatever you're into. Start simple. You'll find it far more rewarding to master simple stuff than you will getting frustrated with the complicated stuff. You know, all that classic stuff. The reason people learn it is because it's a good start for beginners. It helps you get your hands around the fretboard, gets you used to playing simple things like power chords, and you're going to get less frustrated because you're going to want to learn more. You're going to want to continue to pick up the guitar. So stop trying to learn complicated pieces. Of course, there are going to be people out there that are like, wow, I learned Blackbird as my first song and I found it really easy. That's great. If that works for you, that's great. This is my advice. You can take it or leave it. Number 3, I see all of you guys doing this, even students I've had for like maybe 3 years. They still have this nasty habit of trying to look at both hands at the same time. Really, guys, I know what you're going through because I've been through it myself. But trust me, the shortest route is picking one hand to look at one time. Don't try and do both. Pick one hand. Usually the chord hand is my advice, and then try not to look at this. Now, sometimes when I sit with my students, I put a piece of paper here, so even if they look, they can't see it. Because I'm kind of cruel when it comes to teaching people, right? I want them to really get into that habit of not looking at both hands at the same time. So if you're just learning to change between chords smoothly, you know, all you have to do is just strum down. If you're more concerned about the picking and you know the chords, leave the chord on then you can concentrate on looking at the pick in hand. Ideally, what you want to be doing is feeling. And some people will say, oh, well, I can't find the string. So what you have to do, there's a few little things that you can do. And now you're always going to, even with the guitar pick, you're always going to be able to find the bottom thick string and the top thin string. So if you put your thumb close to the strings, you'll always be able to feel where they are, and your hand should always come in between the D and the G string. And it'll get more comfortable and it'll become more natural as you practice. Yes, it's frustrating and you think that looking helps. It doesn't always. By feeling, and this is another thing I see as well, putting the chord on, getting ready to strum, then looking away. Then I'm going wrong, okay? Always keep your eye on the ball as well. Even though you're not looking at this hand, make sure you've got really nice posture with your fingers to change to the next chords, okay? And that'll make things sound a bit sweeter, and you'll just engage your ears a bit more and be able to recognize when you're going wrong. So always do one thing at a time. Chords, movement, and then later on strum and picking. By the way, when you're trying to learn to strum different strumming patterns, just stick to one chord. And then you can really just concentrate on what's going on here. Number 4, I've said it so many times, work on a single piece. Try and learn a song from start to finish. But it doesn't mean that you only learn that specific song when you pick up the guitar. It will drive you mad because you'll just get really frustrated and you'll just not want to pick up the guitar and you're just going to get fed up with that song. There's nothing wrong with learning 3, 4, 5, 6 songs at a time, but make sure you're working towards mastering at least one. And of course, it's very important to play a song from start to finish. Otherwise, what's the point? But it's also important to try different things on the guitar. It might be a riff, or it might be just scales, or maybe even some kind of blues licks. The whole point is to mix it up, like a good balance of different things. In the same way, if you wanted to train as an athlete, you wouldn't just run around a field. You probably have to spend a couple of days in the gym, and then you have to be very careful what you eat. You have to eat really healthy. So it's always a balance of multiple things. So learning the guitar is absolutely no different. You know, if you wanted to be a singer-songwriter, of course, you're going to have to play chords and learn how to play and sing. But at the same time, you're going to want those riff skills to add interest, and maybe you're going to want to understand some scales to match your melody and that kind of thing as well, okay? So it's very important to have a good balance across the guitar, not just master one thing and move on to the next thing. Mix it up. It makes things so much more interesting, and you're less likely to give up and more likely to want to pick up the guitar on a regular basis. Number 5, and this is a biggie, and sometimes not even I stick to this, and that is consistency. 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 Try and play little and often. Playing the guitar once a week, it's just not going to get you to where you want to be. You're going to have to pick up the guitar more often and be mindful of what you're actually doing. If you're just picking up the guitar and playing random stuff just for fun, yeah, it's going to help, but it's not really mindful practice. For example, I was just teaching a student how to play the major scale, right? Just so we can kind of get into that soloing. But he tends to do this quite a lot. Not leaving the fingers on long enough, so you kind of get that staccato sound, which is important, but you also want legato. And that's a different skill in itself. There's stuff like that you have to practice, and you have to practice consistently. I know you don't always have the time. I don't always have the time. But I try and dedicate at least 1 or 2 days a week to the things I want to learn. Setting a routine hasn't always been something that works for me, but it may work for you. I say try it. You know, if you go to the gym twice a week, then why not coincide that with playing the guitar twice a week as well? And by playing mindfully, you'll get to where you want to be quicker. And what I mean by mindfully is not just playing random stuff, working out those songs, recording yourself, playing it back, self-criticizing your stuff, being your own critic. Does it sound good? Am I getting better? Am I enjoying it? If not, remember, go back to number 4, mix it up a bit. There are 3 things you could do that would help your consistency, and one of them would be to create a goal. Set a goal, for example, by Christmas I want to be able to play 5 Christmas songs, or by my birthday I want to be able to play that Metallica intro or whatever, okay? The other thing is sharing what you're doing, whether it be online or with your kids or with your friends. It will help because people will be like, oh my gosh, you're really getting better. And if they say the opposite, you're getting worse, go back and work on that stuff until they say, oh my gosh, like you are getting better, you know? And it helps. Post that stuff online. I always recommend to my students, post your stuff online so I can see it. I'll always give you positive feedback and, you know, maybe some tips on where to go and what to do. Just don't be scared about being laughed at. Believe me, I still get laughed at now. And number 3 is get help. Get some lessons, or if you've got a friend that plays guitar, arrange to meet with them once a week and just hang out, talk guitar, and maybe learn some stuff. And if you do get lessons, that's, you know, a dedicated 30 minutes or an hour every week that you're going to be consistent and you will get better. But remember, you have to be mindful about what you're doing. Now, as promised at the beginning, my 6th bonus tip, okay? Now, many people email me and say, wow, I watched one of your videos. It really helped me improve. What should I do next? Well, I've done many videos on this, but I'm going to run through exactly what you should do, start to finish, right now. And the first thing is chords. Learn your chords, your major, your minor, your 7ths, just for starters, right? A, B, C, D, E, F, G. It amazes me the amount of people that can't do that, okay? Now, you don't need lessons for that. There are tons of books, there are tons of YouTube videos, right, including my own. And all you have to do is run through those chords, and it takes a couple of minutes, all right? Once you've got your majors, learn your minors. A minor, B minor might be a bit difficult. Skip out the ones that are difficult. C minor might be difficult because it's a bar. Skip it out. D minor, E minor gets easier, right? Skip out the ones that are hard, get really good at the ones that are easy, and go from there. The next thing is that I mentioned earlier on, learn as many riffs as possible. Give yourself, 5 riffs by the Rolling Stones, or 5 riffs by Nirvana, or 5 riffs by Metallica, and practice them, work them out, list them up, make Spotify playlists so you know you've got something to reference. Oh yeah, I remember how to do that. It's a really cool thing to be able to impress your friends with as well. Learn the most popular strumming pattern of all time. Down, down, up, down, up. Down, down, up, down, up. Now it's not down, down, up, down, up, because that's not rhythmical, right? Down, down, up, down, up, da, 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 down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up. No matter what song you learn, down, down, up, down, down, up. You'll see it on hundreds of my videos. Down, down, up, down, up. Make sure you learn that strumming pattern because it'll just help you improve across the board in everything you play. Now, if you're already at this point where you can play one song start to finish, you can play some riffs, and you're really good at that strumming pattern, times it by 3. Okay, so what do I mean by that? Learn 3 songs start to finish, learn double the amount of riffs, and learn 3 different strumming patterns. So there you have it, guys. Hope you enjoyed this week's lesson. Please don't forget, hit that subscribe button if you'd like to receive my weekly updates. Don't forget, you can find me over on Instagram, and I also share a monthly newsletter on my website, leejohnblackmore.com. Check it out. Love to hear from you guys in the comments box below, and I'll see you again the same time next week.